for our scheduled start time. Okay, so it is 4 o'clock. I'm sure people will be joining us as we go. I am going to ask the faculty and staff to introduce themselves. So I'll start. Dr. Josephine Connolly Sconen. I'm the director of the nutrition division here at Stony Brook Medicine and the director of one of our programs. We don't have to worry about all that. And I've been here for about 32 years. So I've been at Stony Brook a really long time. I love it here, and I'm sure you would too. So now I'm going to ask Lorraine to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Danowski, and I am the director of the standalone dietetic internship program. I've also been at Stony Brook for about 24 years now, and have coordinated the internship program for most of that time.
And Leah.
Welcome, everyone.
I'm Leah Holbrook. I'm the Associate Director for the Graduate Nutrition Programs. And later this month, I'll be here 20 years. So welcome.
Okay, and I think Kara is on. Kara, you're next.
Yep. Hello, everybody. I'm Kara Cohen. I am the coordinator of the distance track of the dietetic internship.
Okay, and Sharon.
Hi guys, I am Sharon Schmidt. I think I'm the new kid on the block at like 12 years. Welcome all. I am the administrator for all the programs, so I can certainly entertain any questions you have and or direct you to whoever might better answer them. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Okay, so our goal is to balance giving you enough information to help you make a decision in terms of applying to our programs, one or more of our programs, but not to overwhelm you with details because there's so much to explain. So everything is going to be on our website too, and sometimes we'll just point you to our website. If, however, you have a detailed question about something you see on the slide or something that's really important that you have more detail, please feel free to ask. We want to make this as interactive as possible so it's meaningful for you and you get the answers you need to make an informed decision. And we also do recognize that it's a rather confusing time in our profession in terms of different paths to become a registered dietitian. So we expect a lot of questions, and please feel free to ask questions. So right now, the website that's shown is our website to this landing page that shows you or gives you access to then look into the various programs we'll be talking about today. So we'll look at which program is for you in a moment. There's information about the faculty and staff in the middle, also information about our open houses and recruitment fairs. And then on the bottom on the left with the cherry tomatoes from our farm, we have the dietetic internship, which can be coordinated with the master's program if you don't already have a master's program or almost done with a current master's program. We have a standalone MS in nutrition if you choose to do a master's in nutrition first and then apply to a dietetic internship program. And then we have our MS in professional nutrition practice, which is our coordinated graduate level program that coordinates the didactic work, the classroom work, and the supervised experiential learning in one combined program. Now, this is kind of new for us too. So if I misspeak, I'm sure one of the faculty members or Sharon will jump in and correct me, and please do feel free to correct me. There's just a lot of details and a lot of different programs with the 3 different programs that we have. Okay, so with that introduction, I'll share a little bit about our team. So on the next slide. So this is on our rooftop farm. So we have 36 raised beds for our farm. It's something that we've been doing for, I think, about 15 years right now. And this is some of our staff. So basically, here at Stony Brook, we have a very large nutrition division. There are 37 RDs that work in various different programs and service lines. So as an intern, on-site or distance, you are benefiting from the expertise from the large staff. Obviously, if you're on site, you would rotate with some of them, but even as a distance intern, they're informing the curriculum. If I have a question or any of us have a question about a topic in a course, we have our colleagues that we go to. So the dietitians that are in our program, faculty or adjunct or clinicians, are experts in their field, and we work very closely together to inform each other. So if I have a tube feeding patient in one of my outpatient clinics, I always go to Lorraine. Or if I had a sports nutrition question, I went to Soteria, who's not online right now. So we just have this vast expertise that really informs all areas of the curriculum. And so our interns and students benefit from that. Okay, next slide. So why Stony Brook? So Stony Brook is highly ranked on many different criteria. I'm not going to read all these to you, but our university hospital on the bottom left is named one of America's 50 best hospitals for 2023. In the left of middle, we are named the #1 public university in New York, and we're ranked nationally as a university in the top 100, and of public colleges, the top 35. So it's a dynamic institution that is thriving, and a lot of resources that students and interns benefit from. Next slide. Okay, so on that intro landing page that was on the first slide, it was which program is for you, I think it said. And I'm going to just share a little bit because there's a lot of information in this area of the website. So the next 2 slides are going to be set up the same way. And again, we're not going to read everything, but the first column with the cherry tomatoes, that is referring to the dietetic internship program, which can be coordinated with our master's program. The master's program alone is an online program that you could choose to do as well if you wanted to do a master's first, let's say. And I'm sorry, I already misspoke because the first slide is the dietetic internship alone. So if you have done a master's, or if you're in a master's and you're going to get to the point where you only have 9 credits left to finish your master's before you would start the internship, then you can apply to our internship. So for our internship, you can have a master's, you could be almost done with a master's, or you would have to enroll in our master's, apply and enroll in our master's. And that is the middle column. That would be the dietetic internship coordinated with the master's in nutrition. Then we also have, as I mentioned, at the graduate level, a program that combines didactic coursework with supervised experiential learning. So in terms of eligibility, as I mentioned, the dietetic internship alone, you'd have to have a master's or only have 9 credits left. The dietetic internship with the coordinated master's would be for those that don't have a master's and you want to do the DI and coordinate the master's under one roof. That you have to, in terms of who's eligible, in order to do that, you have to already have a verification statement. If you're not familiar with that term, please ask. But basically, you have to have completed an accredited undergraduate nutrition program. And when you complete an accredited undergraduate nutrition program, you get a verification statement, a DPD, a didactic program in dietetics verification statement. Okay. Now, let's say you did not do an undergrad in nutrition, you don't have one of those verification statements, you can do our graduate level program, but you would need a number of prerequisite courses. Again, I'm not going to read them all right here unless anyone has any questions, but there are a number of science prereqs. And then on the bottom, there are 3 nutrition prereqs, nutrition and food service related courses that you would have to take to do that program, because if you're in this situation, you don't have an undergraduate degree in nutrition. So let me stop there. Did I make any mistakes? Anybody can correct me, my own staff.
No mistakes, but I just wanted to add that if you do have an undergrad DPD verification statement, the column all the way to the right is still an option for you. So if you have the verification statement, all 3, all of what we spoke about is relevant for you. It's just that if you don't have a DPD verification statement, only the Master's in Professional Nutrition Practice is an option for you.
So
if I could add, if you are a senior in college right now, you will not yet have that DPD verification statement when you're applying. You would get a letter of intent from your director. It's very common. Just so you know, don't be nervous that you don't have it yet, but you're getting it. You would still be eligible for any of these programs.
Can I ask, we're not too many on the group, although you don't have to divulge. Is anyone in the category on the right where you don't have an undergraduate degree in nutrition from an accredited program? Or are you all from DPD programs? You're all from DPT programs. Okay. Okay, it's good to know. So then you might be asking, okay, how do I pick? What would help me pick? So actually, if you can go to the next slide then, Shah. And one of the things, or maybe it's on the next one, is the middle column in terms of flexibility. So somewhere one of these columns is about flexibility, flexible course schedule and credit load. So if you have that DPD verification statement, or you're going to get it, and you want to take more time to do the master's. So the master's in this case is 36 credits. So you'd be doing the rotations, and then you could choose to do the master's a little slower, not too slow, because the academy wants us to have students graduate both programs relatively close together. Whereas in the MSPNP, that professional nutrition practice, you go through as a cohort in that program, and you are taking, Leah will explain the curriculum plan in a moment, but it's very scripted in terms of the curriculum plan. So if you like to start a program and know it's all laid out, you don't have to make any decisions. You just go. You do get to pick a concentration. That might be something that would help you decide. If you're someone who likes to go at your own pace and have a little bit more flexibility in when you take courses to some degree, then the internship coordinated with the master's might be of more interest. Both of those programs we have on-site option where the program identifies your rotation sites. So you come physically to Suffolk County. Or all of our programs also have that distance option where you could stay wherever you are, and we guide you and help you with the contracts, but you identify the sites that you want to go to. So it helps if you're have a good network in your community, you want to stay in your community, maybe you volunteered in a hospital, maybe you're a DTR, maybe you worked in the kitchen in food service, and you have your network, and like I want to rotate here, eventually I want to work here, maybe they'll hire me. Then you might want to do the distance option, and we guide you and help you with that process, and Kara will talk more about that. Any questions about what I've said so far? It's a lot to take in. Okay.
I have a question.
Hi, Lily.
So first, hi, how are you? Thank you guys for taking your time out of your day to do this, by the way. So for some of the programs, there's the coordinated grad programs where like they have DPD courses along with the grad courses and the supervised experiential learning, whatever. So is that what this program is, where if you have a DPD verification statement, some of those courses that are considered DPD courses will be waived, or is that just for the Masters of Science in the nutrition practice one, or is that not applied to this at all?
Well, you just asked the hardest question that we're going to have a hard time giving you an answer, because we are in that decision-making process.
Okay.
So,
Lily,
Leah?
can I
Like
can I clarify your question? I think,
Yeah.
just correct me if I'm wrong, but you're asking about students who would have come from an undergrad DPD
Oh, that's
program into our
Yeah.
professional nutrition practice, right? Not coming from another grad program into this grad program.
Yeah. Like for
Okay.
example, I'm in the DPD program at Penn State. So like for the DPD courses, if they reoccur in your program, do they get waived for those
Okay.
that have a DPD
Good point.
verification statement?
No, they don't. So these are graduate level programs. And so your work you're doing now would grant you the verification statement, which gives you the option to do any one of our pathways that we're speaking about today. But if you were to choose the master MS in professional nutrition practice, you would still be going through you'd meet all the prereqs, you'd be ready to go. But the program as it is laid out would still apply to you. You wouldn't be waived out of. Because you still have to earn you're still going to earn the master's, and we don't typically waive graduate level courses with undergrad level credits.
Yeah.
But all of your prereqs would be done and you'd be ready to go on day one.
Okay.
Yeah, in an accredited university, I don't think undergraduate credits can apply to a graduate program, but Leah's answer stands. But I know it might be hard for you to imagine right now because you've been slogging through so much coursework. And students that come into the PNP that don't have an undergrad nutrition, they have to take all the sciences and all those other courses, and then those 3 nutrition courses in the summer. So it's I think hard to imagine how much more there is to learn in nutrition, even after the undergrad. I design a lot of the courses, or some of the courses that we have in our master's program and in the PNP program. And I can't tell you how much I learned after practicing for 30 years, just putting the curriculum and the material together for these courses. So you may have done 3 days of diabetes, or maybe a week of diabetes, maybe a week of enteral nutrition. There is so much more to learn on each of those topics that you touched on undergrad. And I'm so passionate about nutrition. It's so fascinating. Lorraine and I were talking about our patients this week because we both still see patients, outpatients, and I've had the most diverse group of patients. And yesterday my brain hurt yesterday after my outpatient clinic. It's a field with so much depth and an ever-growing body of evidence and research to apply. It's just fascinating. So that's
No,
a very
yeah, I
long
totally
that's a very
agree.
long answer.
I think no, yeah, and I agree. Like, I was just confused because on the thing that we have in our class, we like go over the different kind of DISPs, and in ours that says coordinated grad program, it says that some courses could be waived. So when I saw that the Stony Brook one was a coordinated grad program, I think I just got the terms like mixed up a little bit because I was like,
Okay.
wait, but it does require a verification statement. So
Okay, so,
Okay.
but I'm also gonna say that the internship does allow them to, you can, I don't want to use the wrong terminology here, right? We do give you some credit going through the internship for coursework. Leah's giving me a look, so maybe I'm saying this wrong.
With the curriculum plan, when Leah describes the curriculum plans, that'll come into play. But
So you
that's
do-
not about
you do
undergraduate
get-
courses.
No, it's not undergraduate courses, but you do get credit for doing the internship. You will get some of that towards your credits, and she will explain that.
okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions at this time?
I actually have a question. So I go to UMass Amherst, and right now I'm in a +1 master's program, and I did my pathway, I guess, a little bit differently. So this coming May of 2024, I will be getting my DPD and a master's in nutrition. And I was just wondering if because of that, I was eligible for the standalone dietetic internship because I know you said you'd have to have the intent to complete the DPD and 9 credits or less to apply for that. So I was just kind of confused about where I would fit into that.
But you, if I understand correctly, Peyton, you will have completed your master's degree.
I will have completed my master's degree in May 2024 along with the DPD.
It's the 9
Yes.
credits at the start of the internship. You would have to be within 9 credits at the start,
Okay.
not when you're applying.
Okay, that makes
You're
more
all
sense.
set.
Maybe a
You're
little bit
just
more about
standalone DI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right,
yes,
thank you.
yep. Excellent questions. Okay. All right. So as I said on that, which program is for you tile, when you get to our website, there's a lot more information that you could sift through, but they both have on-site, all of our programs have on-site and distance options, part-time and full-time options, very competitive tuition. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna have Leah now explain the curriculum plans for the different programs. So Leah, take it away.
Okay, so one other thing to mention in terms of important differentiation between the programs is that if you are wondering how you might finance some of these programs, you may want to look at the if that row of the table that's on our website, because the MSPNP that I'm going to talk about first is fully credit bearing, whereas the standalone DI coupled with the master's is credit bearing, but as most internships are, it's a non-credit bearing clinical program. So how you might go about financing the programs does differ as well. So that might just be something I just wanted to say that so that as you compare the two, and if that's important to you, it's something you just think about and refer to the appropriate financial aid folks to help you understand it better. Okay, so the MS in Professional Nutrition Practice, if you recall, was the column all the way to the right. And so this is the program where you are doing your didactic coursework and your supervised experiential learning under one program. So you're not pairing the DI with an MS. This is one program in and of itself. In total, it's a 50 credit program, but that again does cover both didactic and supervised experiential learning courses. And in whole, in total, we have this as a somewhat around a 16-month program, but you'll see, as I explained, that it's likely that it would sort of creep into an additional few months. So 16, 18 or so months is, I think, what you should be thinking about, because there can be some modifications or flexibility in terms of when your rotations start and how long they go for. So if a student were to apply for this program for a fall 24 start, I'm not going to talk about the prereqs so much, because everybody on the call would not, you would not be needing any additional prerequisites. So you would be starting in a fall semester, which is late August. And for that first fall semester, you would be taking 9 didactic credits. The courses are fully online. So the didactic courses, which are represented in black and green, represent your fully online courses. So whether you pick a distance track or an on-site track, the coursework, the didactic coursework, is online irregardless. Okay, so your first semester is 9 credits. And then from that point on, there's sort of a meshing of didactic coursework and what we call SEL courses, those supervised learning courses. So in your first winter break, so shortly after the winter holidays, you would start a food service systems and management SEL, which is 3 credits, roughly 4 weeks. And so that would start sometime after the winter holiday in the new year. And then within that time frame, you would also be starting your spring semester, which typically starts toward the end of January. And in that first spring semester, you would be doing another 9 didactic credits. You can see 514, 516, and 528 in the third column. And then you'd also be you'd be ending your food service systems and management SEL, and somewhere mid-spring starting a community nutrition and public health SEL, which is also 4 weeks. So again, what's differing here between the on-site and the distance tracks is, again, the coursework is fully online. So it's whether you've identified your sites near home outside of Suffolk County, or whether you're residing near campus and we're identifying your sites for you. So that's really where the on-site and distance components come into place. You can kind of think of it as program identified or student identified. So during that spring, you're enrolled in 12 credits, 9 didactic, 3 SEL. You finish your spring semester just shy of Memorial Day typically. And then almost right away, you start 2 core didactic courses. So here you have 570 and 520, but there's a third course, once again, bringing you to a total of 9 didactic courses. But at this point, you're choosing your first concentration course. So our program offers 2 concentrations, or actually 3, either, advanced nutrition therapy and critical care, integrative nutrition therapy, or a generalist track where it's general. And I'll go through those courses now. So you come again to summer, it's stats and advanced communication and counseling as your core courses. And then you're either adding on evidence-based concepts and integrative nutrition if you've chosen the integrative track, critical care and nutrition support if you've chosen the advanced nutrition therapy track, or issues and trends in nutrition if you've chosen the generalist track. So it's two core courses, 1 elective course for, again, a total of 9 didactic credits. And now you're starting your nutrition therapy SELs. They're broken down into 2 parts, and you're going to start them over the summer, and they are going to continue now into your second fall. So now you're entering, your 13th month of the program, and here it's 6 didactic credits, research methods in nutrition, and your second concentration course. So the green courses, again, are concentration courses. You're choosing just 1 here. So that brings you to a total of 6 didactic credits, plus your continuing SELs, your advanced nutrition therapy SELs, as well as a research and quality improvement SEL in the fall term. So if things, went completely as expected, it's possible that you would graduate at the end of that fall semester. If you need a little more time to wrap up your SELs, then you might be going into, say, the first month of the next year. And so that's why we're estimating somewhere around 16 to 18 months. But that's also why Josephine mentioned earlier that if you're okay with sort of a tighter program model, we're going through it as a cohort, you can see how scripted this is. And because of the fact that the programs are, the program is designed around the concept of units. So the didactic courses and the SEL courses are scheduled in such a way that you're learning in the classroom and then you're doing in the clinical sites. So because of that, if certain courses need to be pushed out because of an issue with, anything that would come in the way of you completing this as it is presented to you right now, there might be issues with timing out those rotations in the SEL courses. And so although it's always possible if a student needs to take a look at things and make some modifications, but it's tough because of the way this is laid out, because it's so prescribed.
Any
Okay.
questions about
Yeah.
this plan? So you're taking 3 classes in the fall, so you'll be used to that, right? And the spring 3 classes, but the spring then those SELs start. The summer's tight. The summer and the next fall, that's why we're saying you might need a little more time. You might want to spread out your SELs a little bit and go a little bit into the winter. And we're open to that.
Mhm. Okay, maybe we could show the alternative, and then maybe that may prompt too if you have questions then. So, okay, so now we're going to move away from the concept of the MS in professional nutrition practice and talk more about what it would look like if you were in the internship. You were not coming in with a master's, you're not in the middle of a master's, and so you'd be enrolling in our master's, okay? So our master's in nutrition offers the same concentration, so advanced nutrition therapy and critical care, or integrative. We'll start with advanced nutrition therapy and critical care. So the concept here would be you would be starting both your MS work and your internship rotations at roughly the same time, end of August, early September. But let me just mention that there is the potential to take classes in the summer preceding your start. So if you're a typical student, you're graduating in May of 24 and you're planning to start an internship and a master's in fall of 24, there is the possibility to reduce your course load while you're rotating if you wanted to take courses in that summer. But the reason that can be tricky is because a lot of students are still literally at graduation and maybe enjoying a little bit of a celebration at the end of your undergrad, and our summer courses start like the 3rd week of May. So you'd nearly be, starting immediately upon commencement from your undergrad, but it's a possibility. So just so that's plant the seed in case that's something you want to return to me and talk about in the weeks and months to come. But if that were not the case and you were starting fresh in the fall, the first column is the term, so fall, spring, summer. The courses are in the middle, and then whether or not you're still rotating is on the right-hand side under the column headed DI. So your first fall, you take just 1 class, HFN 515, and you start the internship. Your spring, you take an additional class, which is the second part, HFN 516, and yes, you're still in rotations. Then your rotations end and the internship essentially ends in the beginning of June. And at that point, there's about a 2-week overlap, but for the most part, you're done with the internship and you start 6 credits over that summer, an additional 6 credits that next fall, again, not in rotations anymore, and then 6 credits that spring. So if you were to follow it like this, and there's a few additional points to make, but if you were to finish like this, you would have started in a given August and you would finish in the following, well, in May, like a year and a half later. So it's about 20 months long. I've been working with students this year on mapping out their preferences, and some students do want to finish it a bit quicker. So there are students who are looking to finish the master's component by their second fall, which is about 5 or so months earlier than what you're seeing here, which means taking additional courses while you're in rotations, or taking 3 to 4 classes in the summer and fall after you finish rotation. So there's definitely some individualization here, but this is one of the ways in which you can move forward, where it's maybe the least crushing in terms of credits per term, but you can speed it up if that's what you'd like to do. Now, there is one additional course that needs to be taken beyond what you see here. In the bottom box, you'll see select 1 elective from list below. So if this is the concentration you're choosing, then those are your list. There's 6 courses here. You would pick one of those to add into your course plan, and that would be your 1 elective. And you'd like to choose it based on your interests, but you may also want to choose it based on when you're most comfortable adding 3 credits. So again, there's some flexibility there. The middle grayed out box is what Lorraine was referring to earlier. When you are in our DI and our MS concurrently, there is some benefit in terms of overlap. So I'm going to just go course by course. There's 3 courses that I wanted to mention. HFN 580 is sort of a capstone course, and what RDIs would be doing is they would be utilizing one module, which is a bucket of assignments, to satisfy 580, which requires like a practicum project. So you'd basically be utilizing assignments from the rotations to meet the requirements of this course. You enroll in the course, you do pay the credits, but in terms of effort, it's fairly minimal because you're using assignments that you've already done and already received feedback on from DI faculty. So in that case, you're not saving on tuition, but you are saving a lot on effort. The other two, HFN 578 and HFN 583, you are saving both time and tuition. In this case, you challenge out of the course, again, with competencies and work that you've done in the internship. So in that case, you pay a challenge fee, which is about $200. So in total, it would be $400 in challenge fees, and you would save yourself 6 graduate credits. So it's a huge savings in terms of tuition. And so all of that, the challenge courses get done at the end of the internship, and 580 is taken in the fall or spring while you're in the internship. Okay, and that's going to be the same on the subsequent slides because it doesn't matter what concentration you choose. So let me go to the next slide and just show you the other rotation, the other set of courses based on the integrative, but it's essentially the same. You have the same number of courses per term. All of the benefits still apply. The electives are different just by one course. And so basically it's the same situation. Sharon, on the next slide, do we have a generalist example as well? I think we do. Yes. Okay. So, and again, the same. You'll see the elective list is fairly short because in order to create a generalist track, we plucked several of the electives to make that work. I'll tell you, most interns choose between the other two concentrations. They don't typically choose a generalist track. I think they enjoy the higher level concentration courses. But in general, this is an option too. So, are there any questions, or is there anything any of my colleagues want to mention?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So just to clarify, so those HFN courses are not necessarily a course that you would like register for, but it is integrated within your dietetic internship.
The grade out courses that I talked about, that there's the benefit of the double dipping. Yes.
Yes.
So, well, two answers. HFN 580 is a course you enroll in. You pay the tuition. It's like any other graduate course, but the work that you're going to submit to me is already being done for the DI. But
Okay.
it functions like a regular course. It's on your transcript, you get a grade. So think of that as a typical course, but you're not going to be doing any new effort, no additional effort.
Okay.
The other two courses you challenge out of, so it's an administrative process that Sharon and I handle on our end after you request to challenge out, but it does appear on your transcript and there is a grade associated with it.
Got it. And where
Okay.
would those fit into the terms?
Like when do you take them?
Yes.
Yeah, good question. So 580 needs to be taken while you're still in rotations because of the way we make it work. So either fall or spring, it's up to you. There's some benefits to each that we don't have to get into now, but you get to pick.
The first fall or first spring there.
Yeah. Oh, did I not say that? Sorry. First fall or first spring while you're in your rotations. Some people base when they take it on a financial need. Some people take it based on what works better for them for other reasons. So we would advise you on that once you were in the program. The other two, in order to be eligible to challenge, you need to kind of finish the DI. So it's a process that just begins with an email to us, and we do some paperwork. They post a $200 challenge fee, and we take it from there. So that would basically be done in the summer after the DI wraps up. So like your first summer, but and it gets posted to that term, but it's fluid.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. We've also designed these course plans around the idea that most students, many students need financial aid. And although I'm not an expert in that, we've learned over the years that 6 credits is the minimum for graduate aid. So we have tried to build the plan around no less than 6 credits at a time. So Sharon, if you would just go back a slide, I just wanted to point out that it's a little easier to show you with the other concentrations. Hey, Sharon, could you go back a slide for me? Thanks. So here you'll see that there's you know, there's a consistent 2-course clip with the exception of fall and spring. So if a student were to come to me and say, I really need a minimum of 6 credits all the way through, what we would do is we would put 580 into either your first fall or first spring. And because you do pay for that course, that's counted as a regular 3 credit, bringing the total to 6. And then I would say, why don't you pick an elective that falls into the other term to bring that other term up to 6 credits? So, you know, we try to be cognizant of that. And so that typically works out pretty well for students who need that 6 credit at a time minimum. Any other questions? And so you can see again, back to Josephine's earlier point, that there's more flexibility here. You can take more credits at a time if that works for you, but you could also slow it down, you know, and 2 classes at a time once you're done with the internship, you know, seems fairly reasonable, and 1 course at a time while you're in the internship is feasible. You know, most of our students are quite fine with that. Some can do 2 at a time, you know, and some can't. It depends on your outside responsibilities, work, family responsibilities. So this really can be maybe personalized a bit more.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Lorraine is going to talk about if you are doing the dietetic internship, what the rotations would be like on site.
So for the on-site dietetic internship rotations, we have a combination of 61 hours of orientation and seminar. And so the first 2 weeks that you're in the internship, it's on site, and those 2 weeks we do orientation boot camp. So we go over how to assess patients. Some of the programs we have here, you get a basic introduction. So I do ALS clinic with you, so we talk a little bit about that. We do, you know, give you all the skills you need to start your rotations, whether it be your inpatient one first, or your outpatient, or food service. We have seminar generally on Mondays. So some of that is research seminar, and some of it is, I always say it's a seminar that supports the internship. So we do different things like during research seminar, we go through either high level CQI project, or we do a research project. And the other Mondays we have guest speakers, we do some simulations, just different things that we think will enhance the internship. You have 21 weeks of clinical rotations, and those are usually Tuesdays through Fridays. So this is a little different. We did adopt a slightly different model this year. We did blend our outpatient and our public health. So, you know, this may look a little different, but generally we have about 5 weeks of an outpatient rotation where you go between any of the clinics we have here at Stony Brook. So I have ALS clinic, Josephine has her clinic on Tuesday afternoons. You go with a certified diabetes educator. You go across student health, you go to sports. So it's a very dynamic rotation. You have 11 weeks of inpatient nutrition therapy that can be at Stony Brook or an affiliated hospital. We do sometimes break that up. So it's 8 weeks at the affiliated hospital, and we bring everyone back to the 3 weeks here at Stony Brook. So you can see some of our patient types, ICU patients, because we have several ICUs here, some oncology, some pediatrics. You have a 4-week long-term care clinical rotation done at a subacute rehab nursing home setting. And that's a little slower pace, so that's a good way to learn how to do assessment and some of the other types of paperwork you have to do. As I touched briefly on the research rotation, and that's longitudinal. We do it usually throughout the course on the Mondays throughout the course of the whole internship. We do have a virtual renal rotation that you do on your own and you submit it. And we also do, for those who don't pick it as an elective, we go to a renal rotation site and have a tour and get to know the dietitian there and what they actually do, what their day looks like. We have 5-week public health rotation and including WIC. So you do go to a WIC site on many Fridays during that rotation. We have 7 weeks of food service, and we do 4 weeks in food service management where you do get to see, like in a hospital or subacute rehab, where you do get to see therapeutic diets, texture modifications and things like that. and 3 weeks are done in school food service. We have a 3-week elective rotation, and that is really, we did this early on, well, not so early on, but interns wanted to, I think, run what they wanted to do and have a little choice in their rotations. So I give you a list of electives, and you get to pick one that you want to do. And over the years, sometimes I've mixed a couple of different experiences if that's what the interns wanted. We have a 1-week mandatory registration exam review week, where we go over a lot of things throughout the internship, throughout undergraduate, things that are going to be on the exam, and we give you a database of questions so you can practice when you leave us. And we do have a high rate of success doing it this way, and our interns generally do very well on the registration exam. So, and I
Sorry,
think there is a sample schedule on the website, so you can kind of see how this works. Not everyone, you don't all go through at the same time. Not everyone does inpatient. Some people will be in food service, some people will be in school food service, some people will be in inpatient, some people will start off in outpatient, because that's generally the question.
So you get through all the rotations, it just might be a different order.
Yes.
So we do have a clinical concentration, right? So a big chunk of these rotations are clinical, whether they be inpatient or outpatient. And you just get to work with a large number of RDs in different settings. And you'll learn that you'll follow them, you'll understand their style, how they chart and assess. There's always a little bit of variability. It is, like we say, the art of medicine, the art of nutrition. And it does really help you develop your own style after observing and working with so many different RDs. So it's quite a robust clinical, a variety of clinical rotations. Any questions about the rotations if you come to the on-site program identified program? Okay. All right. Next, Kara's going to talk about the distance options, and distance meaning that you'll be outside of Suffolk County for your rotation sites, and the student identifies the sites, and we work with you and help you to do that. And Kara's going to explain all about that process.
Right. So you'll notice that a majority of these rotation settings are similar to what Lorraine just described for the on-site track. And as Josephine said, the main difference is that you do have to identify your sites. There are some benefits to that if you're not from Long Island and you want to stay near your hometown and make connections, which could be possible job opportunities for you in the future. So just to review what you are required to find, we have 600 hours of nutrition therapy. It's actually broken into 2 sites. It doesn't say it here, but it does on the next slide. You have to do a minimum of 262.5 hours in an acute care setting, which is your local hospital. And I know we always laugh at that number because it's such an odd number, but if you do full-time at 37.5 hours a week, which is 7.5-hour day, it's 7 weeks in total for that. We call it the nutrition therapy site 1 rotation. The remaining hours, and that's just the minimum, so you can choose to do more, but the remaining hours of the nutrition therapy of those 600 hours, you can choose any clinical site of your interest. So it could be a second hospital, it could be a bariatric center, diabetes center, dialysis center, a private practice, and a lot of interns have done that in the past. Food service management is a total of 150 hours. We do require that you complete that in an acute care setting, such as a acute care setting or a long-term care facility. And that's because we do want you to have experience with therapeutic and modified textured diets. So it can't be a school setting. It has to be more of an acute care setting. The community nutrition rotation is, again, 262.5 hours, so about 7 weeks full time. Those kind of locations can be WIC centers, food banks, cooperative extensions. What else? Actually, a lot of our prior interns have done their community nutrition with RDs in local supermarkets because they do a lot of different community activities. We have a 75-hour elective, which you could pick any site that you, or any field of dietetics that you want more experience in. So those are the 4 or 5, I guess, ultimately 5 sites that you need to find your own locations for. Then we have a virtual renal rotation, which is 30 hours. And it's online videos that we provide you and modules and assignments for you to complete, along with a longitudinal research rotation, which is virtual, but it's with Josephine, mostly in the evening hours after your rotation is done. And it's 28 hours, where, like Lorraine mentioned, you'll do, I think, mostly CQI project, right, Josephine? Yeah. In addition to all that, so whenever you're rotating through sites, you will have scheduled bi-weekly or bi-monthly phone calls, basically every other week, with me or another Stony Brook faculty member, where we just discuss what you're completing in your rotation sites, if you're getting the experience that you should be getting, how you're doing with your assignments. If you have any concerns about your rotation sites, you can bring it up to us then. If you have questions about a certain topic, as Josephine mentioned, we do have a large number of RDs here, so we could always, help you to answer that question. If it's not specifically me or whoever you're speaking with, we have the connections to other RDs here. And then in addition to your rotations, we have, oh, sorry, Josephine.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to quote one of the prior distance interns who said, she didn't really feel like a distance intern at all, largely because you are chatting with them and really checking in on them every other week. And the research rotation you do with me, and it's usually a very in-depth project where we answer a CQI question through a very extensive review of charts. So we meet, it changes, but like twice a month usually. So I really feel like I get to know the distance interns through that process. And then orientation and review week, there's a lot of presentations and whatnot as well.
Right, so we do call it a hybrid. So partially you'll be coming, or part of the week you will be coming to us here at Stony Brook. And then the other half you may be at home, where we do go over presentations and trainings and provide you with your modules that you need to complete in your rotations, and just ultimately help you to prepare for your rotation sites that you're going to. And then evaluation and review week is, these two dates are actually set in stone, which I'll review on the next slide, but it's typically at the end of April. And again, you either come back to Stony Brook, or it's a hybrid format where we assess that you gained, sorry, I think my Apple Watch just talked to me, so I got confused. We make sure that you gained the knowledge and experience within your rotation sites for us to feel comfortable giving you a verification statement, as well as providing you with review materials to help you prepare for the RD exam. Okay, next slide.
Is anyone thinking of doing it in your home location and not coming to Suffolk County? Okay. Okay.
So these are two different forms that are found on our website. They look very similar, but there are some slight differences. So when you're filling out your application, make sure you're filling out the correct form if you're applying to the distance track. The one to the left-hand side is if you're applying to the distance internship, dietetic internship program. It provides you with information about the different sites and how many hours, and then a sample rotation schedule is on the website, and then this empty version is also on the website. You'll fill out the dates, the duration, the number of hours that you'll be within a site, what rotation it is, where the site name is, and who the preceptor and the contact information is. You do not need to do it in the order listed here. So you see it has the rotation, orientation, community nutrition, elective, food service. It doesn't have to go in any order. We do suggest leaving your medical nutrition therapy site one, which is the hospital setting, a little bit later in your rotation schedule, just because it does take us a little bit longer to facilitate a contract with those sites. So it's just easier for us on the back end, and doesn't allow for any hiccups with your schedule, possible hiccups with your schedule. So we suggest waiting to do that a little bit later in your rotation schedule. And also if you could couple some of the rotation sites, such as food service management, with either of your nutrition therapy sites, meaning do them at the same facility. If you find a hospital that will take you for acute care, can they also take you for food service management? Again, just helps us with contracts in the long run. There are a lot of tips on our website for locating sites and preceptors. We do have a list of places that we currently have contracts with that you could always reach out to. There's a nice document on the website. I think it's titled Why Precept for Stony Brook, or the benefits of precepting at Stony Brook. And you could, when you're reaching out to preceptors, provide them with that document because it informs them of the benefit of precepting. So it's just little ways to help, get them to allow you to rotate out their sites. So like I said, the distance track for the dietetic internship is flexible, whereas on the right-hand side, the rotation schedule that you will be completing for the MS in professional nutrition practice is not flexible. So you've heard this a couple of times now. So the dates are set. I guess they're set for the semester, so they can be a little bit flexible within those in the range, but less flexibility than with your if you were doing the distance track of the dietetic internship. Okay. I think that's it for that slide. And then in addition, when you're applying, you will also submit this proposed preceptor qualification form for each of the preceptors that do agree to precept you during the internship. So a little bit of their background information, how many years they've been in the field. We do ask for a minimum of at least a year, maybe 2 years of practice, what rotation site they are agreeing to precept you for, and the dates. And sometimes, we're a little bit flexible and things change after you actually do submit this. So we understand that. And I'm actually always ends up on the back page of this form, but there is a place for the preceptor to sign it because we want them to acknowledge that they're agreeing. Okay.
Okay. And Lorraine is going to share a bit about the admissions process.
Okay, so we do screen applications, and this is there a different one? Well, I'm going to just do the dietetic internship part of it, right?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. So the minimum admission requirements now are a DPD verification statement. As we said, I think everyone in this group had a DPD or will have a DPD verification upon entering the internship. You do have to have a master's degree or specific coursework. You do need a bachelor's degree with a minimum, like a preferred GPA of 3.2. We also look at your work, volunteer experience, extracurricular activities. And if we screen you and decide to interview you, you are usually interviewed by 2 faculty members. And the other benefit is there's no GREs. So then we rank everyone, and during the course of the summer, we do give you a summer assignment to do if you're selected, and I start to plan your rotation schedules.
So we really do take a holistic view of the application. So some people have to work and they may not be able to do as many extracurriculars. Some may be playing a D1 sport, so they don't have time to shadow an RD. We're just looking to see what you've done to develop your skill set and increase your maturity because you're coming into a healthcare field outside of the classroom. So we look at the whole picture. There's no one magic set of experiences that you need to have. And for the PNP, it's very, very similar, same minimum GPA. It's just you wouldn't have the DPD verification statement or a prior master's degree necessarily, but you do have to have very specific courses that are on the website, the prereq courses. And you'd also explain your work and volunteer experience and extracurricular activities. We do have a written statement that you need to include as part of your admissions packet or your application. And we just encourage you to really try to explain how you've developed various skill sets. We can see your knowledge based on your transcripts, right? But how have you applied that knowledge, and what skills have you developed through your various other experiences that you can then bring to the program that you're applying for, right? So you may have had to work in people, I've seen like ice cream shops, cafes, but people have worked significant hours, and that's a lot to do while you're taking classes. So they've developed communication skills and customer service skills, and maybe they work their way up to manager, and then they have the responsibility of closing out the drawer. And there's all different kinds of things that you're learning from these different experiences. And so rather than just say, I worked here or I did that, what skills did you develop there? That tells us a little bit about you and how you've prepared yourself now to enter the world of healthcare, because healthcare is a lot of responsibility when you're working in healthcare, right? And requires not just knowledge, but a very broad skill set. So you'd
Yeah.
be pulling all that together.
Yeah, we really, of course, prefer that your work experience is related to food service or in the dietetics world, but we give you credit for any, that somebody wants to employ you and that you have a good work ethic. And this slide also shouldn't have the bachelor's degree on there. It's really to come just straight into the internship. It would just be, you would now need the master's degree, or as we said before, 9 credits shy of that. Any questions?
I have a question. It might be more like general, but for the DI only, how many spots do you have? Like, how many spots are you accepting for people?
So for the on-site program, we have 16.
Okay.
Actually 14 this, actually a few less, because we have PNPs that'll be coming in. So I have to adjust that answer actually. So 12 this year.
Okay.
I'm looking for a verification from my faculty, right? 12 this year, because we'll have 4 PNPs doing rotations. And then for the distance program, up to 15.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. This is the first year we're running our PNP program. We got accredited last summer, I guess. So as Lee explained, they start the first fall with courses. In the winter, they do an SEL. The spring, they start their SEL. So they'll start to mix with the interns potentially with rotations and meeting sites with the DIs, with the interns that start this coming fall. We need a roadmap, like we in our office situation, to remember who's who, what program they're going through, what do they need. Yeah, it's interesting, complicated in a fun way, right, everybody? In a fun way. Speaking of fun, so this is us celebrating one of our research projects out on the town. If you come on site, there's a really cute town, Port Jefferson, and this is a bar in Port Jeff where we were celebrating.
This was like the Wednesday before the world shut down for COVID. The
Oh,
end of our
that's right.
first feeding study.
That's right. That's right.
Little do we know.
And the next day, life changed, but it's better now. It's all good again. Okay. So you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. You're probably going to have questions that are very specific to your situation. So reach out to Sharon and she'll direct your question to the best person to answer that. Are you overwhelmed? We always struggle with how much to say in open house. Is it overwhelming? But we want you to have the information you need to make a good choice that's going to work for you. So you might be a little overwhelmed right now.
Is JL on, Sharon? Okay.
Yes. So we have one
Okay.
of our fabulous interns, intern extraordinaire, this year with us, and she agreed to chat with you. So we'll give you a few more minutes to think about questions, but then I think the faculty will come off so that you can ask questions that you don't want to ask us. And I promise you, Sharon, we'll stop recording and we will never know. So any questions for faculty or staff before we say goodbye?
I have a quick question about applying to the master's. So I know that that's separate from the DICUS application, and the due date for the master's application is July. So if you submit that earlier, will you find out earlier? Is it a rolling basis, or kind of how does that work?
Yes. So, yes, the answer is yes. If you apply to the master's, you will find out in a timely manner. It is rolling admissions.
Awesome.
You know, it's hard to say exactly how long it'll take because we have to wait for admissions to filter your information to us, but it's typically not more than a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Okay. So we are leaving you in very good hands. And we'll all say, good luck finishing your, I assume most of you are seniors now and finishing your last year. Enjoy, and yeah, good luck making a decision. We hope you pick Stony Brook. And that's all for now. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just